How many of have you been in a meeting or pulled into a meeting where someone has asked you, why is our personalization program still not delivering? Hold on to that meeting in your head. That's the room we are going to talk about in coming minutes. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Vivek Shivshankar, EVP for Technologies at Instellars. With me today is Abhishek Banerjee, our Senior Vice President for Decisioning. Abhishek, quick intro from you.
Thank you, Vivek. Welcome everybody to this webinar. Um, Regarding me, I have spent the last few decades working on real-time decisioning programs, quite a few of them on Pega Customer Decision Hub, across various industries, banks being one of them. Now, what keeps drawing me to this topic today is that almost every bank that I have worked on, I see the same gap. They have the platform, they have the data, they have smart people working on site, but the customer still gets that generic communication. Why that happens and how we can bridge that gap is what we are going to discuss today. Glad to be here.
One important line before we start the session. We believe the next decade of banking is not won by buying more technology. Rather, it is won by operationalizing it faster. That's what this session is about. In the audience, we have two set of group today. Some of you are starting your Pega CDH journey. You want to go live and have faster engagement with your customers. Others are already live, and the question now is about results, adaptive models, new channels, and day-to-day operations. We will cover both. In most of the board meetings, usually there are specific numbers, research numbers which are discussed. To highlight them, to point out them, McKinsey says 71% of customers expect personalized interaction. White Clay found that 50% of customers are willing to switch their primary bank for getting a better personalized guidance. BCG is estimating approximately $370 billion can be unlocked by the banks as extra profits by 2030 by having personalized engagement with their customer. Now, these numbers are present in every board deck and discussed in many meetings. What is not discussed is how quickly this can be organized by banks and delivered. That's where the conversation stops. Most of the banks have the CRM platforms, campaign tools, and CDP, but still the experience is still generic. Abhishek, what is broken here?
So I see three patterns on most of the programs that I worked on. The first among them being the long development cycles, right? So most of these digitization programs run for 12 to 18 months. And even then, almost two-thirds of them miss their timelines, some by even half a year or more. I was just thinking about one of the previous engagements that I had worked on, in which the data was there, the customer information was there, even we had the channels which we wanted to activate, but we still couldn't activate it, even after 2 years in the program. The gap was we could not translate the requirements into actual insights, actual bottle of work. So, of course, that long timelines is something that is a key factor on these digitization programs not running to success. I was thinking the second one being, I think it is one that makes quite a bit of sense to everybody in this panel, is the delayed return on investments. The boards, when they approve these programs, expect value in year one. And unfortunately, we see the values coming in these programs much later, perhaps somewhere in year three or four. And by that time, patience is gone. Now, one of the core reasons for that in the programs that I worked on is the backlog itself is not ready. The user stories, grooming of them takes such a long time that you are missing your core development cycles, and thus your ROIs are delayed, Vivek.
Hold on, Abhishek. So the ROI point which you are mentioning is the one actually loses the CFOs. The CMOs are given targets to show something in the upcoming quarters quickly, or the budget is not available. That's the exact meeting which we just spoke about when we began. Carry on, Abhishek, with your next point.
Yeah, on similar on those lines, right? Just to take this discussion forward, another key gap that I have observed is the low visibility of milestones for the sponsors, right? So these programs, the digitization big programs, are running for quarter to quarter with effectively no monthly checkpoints. Sponsors don't know who is winning, what is actually working, and what is not. And by the time they find out, it's actually too late. So the net
Yes.
effect is we keep on running disjointed campaigns because that's the only thing that we can ship, and we don't achieve our objectives. To summarize,
Got it.
basically, the gap isn't technology, Vivek, as far as I
Mm.
understand now. Banks already own capable platforms. They have the people, they have the data. The gap is this packaged way of working that
Mm.
turns these platforms into actionable live actions, right? And that's where our MLP comes into picture.
Got it, Abhishek. So importantly, three patterns where it is failing. And it's not about the platform, it's predominantly about the execution. Now, we have four pillars identified: acquire, engage, nurture, and retain. Why these four, Abhishek? Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. So these four are used in our MLP because they map directly to the commercial life cycle of a banking customer. These are the four key moments where the PNL actually leaks. So what that means, say for example, acquisition, right? So we know that acquisition costs are rising, conversion rates are dropping, right? So that's where this pillar comes into picture. We fix this core issue of conversion. Next is something which is very close to my heart, right? Engagement. If you see in our MLP, we value or weigh engagement much more than acquisition. Why? That is because we have acquired a customer, but if he doesn't start using our product, if he goes dormant quickly, then it is basically a waste of resources, right? So that's where this engagement pillar comes into fruition. We try to drive early adoption and activation because of this. Next, we all know this. We have heard it about it more. It's basically the nurture pillar, which talks about relevant cross sells and upsells. We see today that the upsell or cross sell offers that prospects receive are so disjointed or so irrelevant that customers don't even opt for it. So that effectively results in flatlining the customer lifetime value, right? So that's the nurture. And finally, retention. So it's a core aspect of our MLP. So I've worked on programs where we see the organization having very high churn rates because um, even when doing a reactive churning, right, the offers or the actions that we were recommending to prospects were just irrelevant or it didn't matter to them. So that's where we use Pega's brain and do proactive and reactive retention in this pillar. So to summarize, we have four pillars, one data model, and to top it all, these pillars are all measured separately. So you can identify which is working and which is not.
Clear, Abhishek. So four movements where PNL leaks and each one of them measured separately. But under these are the core pillars, agree. But what actually lives inside them on the day one?
Yeah. So it's not a slide that is available to our customers as part of this MLP on day one only, right? What they get is actual customer journeys. These are the customer journeys that, based on our experience working on real life programs, are what makes most sense. Say, for example, we know that digitization and onboarding journey is important. We know a retention journey is important. We know a wellness journey in today's world is a very important feature. So you get all of these along with their stages. Um, we have the specific stages for these journeys, and then we have actions. Vivek, we have more than 40 plus actions that are already coded in this
Hmm.
MLP, all sitting under those specific customer journey stages. And to tell you, each of them come with their own entry exit criteria. So each running Pega's decisioning brain, customer journeys, actions end to end. We do give you the treatments also, and we also tell you where these treatments should be placed, which channel they should use, which layout we should use. It all comes as part of this MLP. So it's a holistic solution with 40 plus actions, more than 10 times customer journeys, all targeted so that our customers achieve their ROI in weeks, not in months.
Okay, so the IP is in the box on day one, a starting architecture and not a frozen architecture. And the continuation will be also there. Fine, Abhishek. 10 weeks, that is on the slide. What is actually real about it?
So the actual real thing about it is those customer journeys, actions. How do we achieve it? Because we don't start from a blank canvas, right? This entire solution is built on Pega's financial services framework. We are following the Pega's financial services data structure. The foundations are there. The second core feature, Vivek, which I really want to point it out, is solves the problem of the delayed ROIs, right? That this MLP comes with its own pre-built backlog of user stories, traceable to the customer journeys, right? So you know what you are building, and you are starting the build much earlier. You're not wasting your development cycles trying to figure out what to do.
Hmm.
So this makes our solution different.
Okay, right. So by week 10, that means it is in production and not in UAT. That's great, Abhishek. So if let's assume a customer is in Jakarta and he's using only WhatsApp now, what does that mean for this MLP accelerator?
Yeah. So as part of our MLP, we are also recommending these treatments will be delivered via which channels, right? So we have SMS, email, and to top it up, we have WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp, how I've worked for Southeast Asia customers, we feel that it's the best channel for the RIs, right? To achieve this and to enable our customers so that they get to it much quicker, this WhatsApp integration is part of our MLP, right?
Mhm.
So day one, you just have to create a WhatsApp Twilio account, right? And the accelerator is already there. It integrates with it, and you can have the messages being delivered through the WhatsApp channel. So this is a very unique proposition of our MLP. We also give them this is the channel delivery, but Vivek, we also give them like pluggable endpoints for customer data, right? So this entire architecture is like a extendable architecture, right? Customers get a host of things as part of the MLP, but they can easily modify and implement anything extra that they want to do.
Got it, Abhishek. So, same brain, different windows from channel perspective, WhatsApp or any other channel where the customer actually is. And also data ingestion extension points also available.
Absolutely.
Whatever we have spoken till now is related to the go live greenfield approaches. In the audience, we have audience who are already live in CDH, Abhishek. Let me change the track. Model is live, but it is not delivering. Where do we start?
This is a question I have come across in many of my projects, right? So model is live, but it's a live model actually doesn't mean a performing model, right?
Mhm.
I've seen customers have multiple adaptive models running in production, but they are not learning effectively, right? So why? What is the reason for that? So my thought on those is it's basically for three core reasons, Vivek, right? The first being what I have observed is the low responder volumes per cell, right? We have layman's terms, too many treatments competing for the customer and not enough customer responses for the model to learn, right? Model needs some minimum number of responses, right? So that it becomes intelligent, right? So the treatments are too thin, the model never learns, it just runs. So it's not learning, it's just running, right? So that's one of the gaps that I have observed. Second, which is very tricky in nature, is we know business rules can be easily encoded in the decisioning systems like Pega, right? So as part of eligibility, applicability, suitability, it's like those business rules. Some organizations have these rules which are too strict in nature. So the models are there, but the actions, treatments get filtered out even before we can use the models for prioritizing them, right? So it's a tug of war between the business rules versus the adaptive learnings, right? So the models get blamed for the performance, but they never get a chance to drive the ROI, right? So that's there, right? So I'm just thinking about the third one. I feel, and I've also seen it playing on the ground, um, the models becoming stale over time, right? So you go live with X number of predictors, but business changes, right? New data points come in, new logics are derived, new business rules coming, but nobody takes the time on updating the adaptive model with these predictors, right? So you have information sitting in your cache, customer insights cache, but that is not being used in your adaptive models. So end result, your performance of the models drifts quietly and nobody notices, Vivek.
So, three clear symptoms over there, Abhishek, right? Okay, so it's about model side. Now, customer keeps on moving from one channel to another channel. How fast can banks follow the customer into their preferred channels when they are moving?
Yeah. So that's a question that comes up in major implementations, right? I work for customers who have, say, four channels implemented. Then they ask us, oh, are these working the way we desired? What should we do next, Abhishek? So the answer to that question is this channel assessment that we offer, basically, right? Which actually checks on host of parameters, right? How the current channels are working for the organization.
Mm.
And next, what we do is we recommend how a new channel can be implemented. Now, how do we do that? We have basically a few parameters on which we do that. First, how do we integrate with the new channel? What are the templates, Vivek, that needs to be implemented? Are there any channel specific eligibilities that needs to be incorporated? We just talked about models not learning, right? Which is a big issue for the new channels, right? Because we implemented the delivery, but we never figured out how we will capture the responses. So getting the responses back is something that is missed in a host of new channel implementations. And to top
Mm.
it all, I have a new channel, right? I've implemented it, but nobody cares to figure out how this new channel is going to impact the entire ecosystem. Is there is a contention between channels? Do we need to implement new context strategies? So all this comes as part of our offering for the channel assessment. So the first offering in the adaptive models, we do generate a ready reckoner kind of a report which tells which models are performing, which are not, which predictors are performing, which are not. Is there any missing data? Is there any model that is never being used? So it's an entire gamut of uh, pointers that we figure out in a readable report, provide it to the customers and help them reach the end goal. So
Yeah.
models, channels, and Vivek, I'll just take 2 minutes to call out the journey optimization that also comes as part of our offering. For the greenfields, we said our MLP comes with more than 10 plus journeys which map to actions and treatments and everything, right? But what about our existing customers? Some of them have journeys, but they are disjointed in nature. Uh, the stages are not well defined. The actions under them are not well defined. So this third offering for our existing customers, which talks about journey optimization, fixes this gap. We go into the system, we see what the journeys are, we see their stages, we see the entry exit criteria, we see their gaps, and we try to fill their gap. That's what this third offering is.
Great, Abhishek. All the three offerings to increase the efficiency of the usage and the platform usage itself. That's good to know. So, basically, when the new channel is offered, it is another window and it can be fast tracked. There is analysis on adaptive models, and also there is a possibility of looking into the customer journeys and adapting them to the need of the hour. Now, if I have to ask the from a CFO point of view, what does when does this particular MLP turns into a legacy system?
Short answer, Vivek, never. So we never uh, deviate from the core Pega tenant that is built for change. So our MLP comes with 40 plus actions, but we also recommend what will be the next 40 plus for the post MLP, right? Each of our components are extendable. You can add journeys, you can modify the stages, actions, treatments. Nothing is locked, nothing is time boxed. um, this entire solution easily integrates with other clouds, AWS, GCP, Azure. As I said before, we have pluggable endpoints so that your customer insights cache is built quickly. We do give out of the box built customer personas also for each of these journeys, right? So the testing is also much simpler as part of our MLP. So what do we achieve are doing after all this is that in weeks you have a running system. um, some of the banks can pick up whatever comes as part of this action, some can even extend or customize it, um, but it's all easily configurable and modifiable.
Right. So nothing is locked. The bank can extend with us or without us. That's good to know, Abhishek. Um, if if there is a number, what makes that number for a CFO to say yes? for this MLP?
Yeah, so we have observed that personalization, we know it gives us a revenue lift, right? It's not a rocket science. We know personalization works. We know personalized experiences helps in higher retention, right? So we have all these facts in front of us. For the CFOs, what I would say is there are three numbers to track from day one. Your time to value. It's in weeks as part of this MLP, not quarters. Second important factor is what it takes to launch a new feature. It will be very short as part of this MLP. The reason being, it's all extendable, right? As I said, it's following the core Pega tenet of extending the features. And the third, which matters a lot to the sponsors, that our MLP facilitates measurement of each of those pillars individually against the bank's baseline. So you know what is working and what is not, and try to mitigate in due course. To top it all, Vivek, I would only say that as time moves on, the cost of not doing these personalization projects is much higher. Basically, the cost keeps on increasing. So every quarter, when you do fire all, send all kind of a campaign, it erodes the trust that the customers have on the brand, and the cost of that is high. So
Okay. Yeah, Abhishek, got it. So the economics are documented, you mean, and the cost of waiting is going up. Abhishek, before we come to close of the session, if you have to leave the audience with one thing to remember, what would it be?
I would leave two things: one for existing customers and one for new customers. If you are starting a new CDH journey, our NLP gives you the bang for the buck, right? So it comes with a pre-built set of customer journeys, actions, treatments, pillars, all end to end, which can go live in weeks. Channels tuned for each geography, a lean team where you have experienced professionals like more than 4+ years experience on an average in CDH, and that's what you get as part of this, right? And if you talk about our friends who are already live on CDH, I would just summarize it that we have offerings that optimize your AI, we have offerings that optimize your channel, and we have offerings that optimize your customer journey. So, journey optimization, AI optimization, and channel optimization is the catch line for existing customers.
And Abhishek, maybe one line if someone is already walking into a budget meeting in coming week or coming days, what could it be?
Um, so you have this accelerator that translates your requirements to actionable executables in weeks, not in months. And what you build is a foundation that it can extend easily across journeys, channels, and markets. So it's basically from boardroom to actionable insights in just 10 weeks. That's our pitch here.
Perfect. Thank you, Abhishek. So, from another report to quote, McKinsey calls personalization as a force multiplier. They are right. Every quarter you delay, the gap widens. Every quarter you compound, the gap closes. And to everyone, remember the meeting where we started with? If you are going into that meeting where someone is asking you a question, why is our personalization program still not working or not delivering? If you have heard us, you can go into that particular conversation with a different inputs into that one. That's from our side. Thank you all. We have our MLP already available in Pega Marketplace. And thank you for your time. If any of this maps to our conversation you are already having internally, we would be welcoming you for a 45-minute working session. Please reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.